Hello and welcome to the reading from the sacred Agastya Valipadu discourses. Today we'll continue on the topic meditation, why meditation, and basics of meditation as Sage Agastya has taught us. Last session we talked about why we need to know why we are meditating, which is to understand what liberation means, what we are, what is the soul, what is the body, what is the mind. And then Appa taught us about what is an ideal place for meditation, how to set the posture. And he also taught us about the mudras or the hand positions. Today, he's talking about pranayama or breathing technique. But before we go towards the breathing technique, there's one important thing that is relevant to the modern kind, humankind, and that is important when we go into meditation. It's called switching off your sixth telephone, which is, we are talking about your telephones or your iPads or your iPhones, because that is something that disturbs all spiritual aspirants. And that's a very, very potent thing that is created by the modern world. So before you begin meditation, it doesn't matter where you are, always make sure that you completely disconnect from all these electronic devices. So that is something that I am adding to this because it's so important and relevant, because we are often distracted by calls coming in or people knocking at the door and wanting to come in, etc. So if you're with a family, advise them that you're going to meditate, and this time that you should not be disturbed, for everything can wait. Everything can wait, but your search for God and for yourself, to know yourself, that cannot wait. So the 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 hour that you give for yourself for meditation is for you and you alone. So now let us see what Sage Agastya has said in terms of breathing techniques. He says, it is the measured inhalation of breath through nose, the retention and the exhalation. That is the basics of the breathing techniques. Most people can naturally inhale and exhale without retaining their breath. And that is what we all do. We are constantly inhaling and exhaling, because without breath, we cannot survive. We cannot have life. And we are not even aware that we are breathing. So that is something that is very natural to all of us. Appa says, for those who want to practice pranayama, which is the breathing technique, it is best to learn the different ways that one can control one's breath based on one's capacity through the guidance of a guru. There are several methods in the Raja Yoga and Hatha Yoga systems of meditation. If one is able to control the inhalation and exhalation as stipulated by one's guru, it can stabilize the mind and promote determination. Now, what is Appa saying here? He's saying there are different types of breathing techniques. Learn that which is good for you through your guru. And he says it's very, very important to do what is comfortable as per your capacity. Not everybody can do stipulated methods of pranayama or breathing technique. You can start very naturally. You have to be comfortable in what you're doing. Just like he says about, the asana, don't assume difficult postures and focus on the pain and the discomfort. Sit in a position that is very comfortable for you. Because remember, everything, the breathing, the posture, where you sit, how you sit, everything is just preliminary. You haven't even begun meditation. So everything should be comfortable and natural. Now, he's talking about there are several methods of pranayama. All methods have two basic things. One is breathing in and breathing out naturally. And the other is breathing in, retaining the breath, and breathing out. These are the two basic types or foundations of breathing techniques. So in Kriya Yoga, they add a layer of how you keep certain parts of your body. And I will not share that here because it is advanced techniques and it's best learned from a guru, a qualified guru. And then also, what are the things that are added on to the breathing techniques? Usually a mantra is added. Say, for example, we have the Buddhist great monk who was very well known in the Western world and loved by everybody, who had a very simple method of meditation, which was natural breathing. And he'd say, chant, breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. How simple is that? Even that is very, very effective, because if you want to experiment on this after the session, sit down in your house and assume the posture that is very comfortable. Sit straight, close your eyes, and just watch your breath. And when you watch your breath, just breathing in and breathing out, the way the breath flows, then you'll start realizing that you're becoming calmer and calmer. So the breath or the breathing is the key to the basic foundation of meditation. And that is what we need to understand. Now, Appa continues to explain about breathing. He says, breathing in through the nose is called inhalation, that is in Tamil, uragam. Breathing out is called irasagam or exhalation. In addition to that, the holding of breath is retention or kumbhakam. This is usually practiced in the second level of meditation, because most beginners, the easiest thing for them to do is just watch their breath flowing naturally in and out without trying to control it, but just follow it. So sit down, watch your breath as it comes in, then watch the breath as it goes out. Don't try to control it. Later stages, when you can, then you can do the retention part. And this is what Appa says. These three breathing techniques, that is inhalation, retention, and exhalation, must be accomplished per the specific time periods. So there are different ways different gurus teach you. In the Yogananda tradition, they tell us if you do 8 counts of breathing in, then have 8 counts of retention, and then 8 counts of exhalation, equal time. In some other methods, they say, breathe in 8 counts. I'm just giving you a general number. It could be different numbers. Hold for 12 counts, then breathe out for 8 counts. So it depends on what type of meditation you're being taught. But do not give too much importance to this if you're a beginner or if you're a regular meditator. Remember, even this breathing technique is still the basic part of beginning to meditate. You still haven't done or gone into meditation proper. You're just learning how to get into the stage of meditation. Why is that? It's because in this modern world, we are constantly on the move. We are bombarded by all kinds of stimuli. Our 5 sense telephones are constantly, busy. So the very first basic thing we are learning in meditation or in beginning meditation is we're understanding why we are meditating, how to sit still. And that is important. And then we are now talking about how to breathe or how to watch how you breathe. So that is the next step. Then Appa says, these 3 breathing techniques must be accomplished per specific time periods. Each action of inhaling, holding, and exhaling the breath should be undertaken in the measure of what is known as Matirai. According to him, he says, do it according to Matirai. So what is Matirai? Matirai is a measure of time in Tamil. It's 0.125 seconds. So in the units of time in Tamil history or in Indian Vedic system, units of time range from 66.666 millisecond, which is the time taken by the human's eye to blink, to a kalpa that constitutes 4.32 billion years. So in the Western world, we have up to the second. Beyond the second, they do not go in terms of the measure units of time. And they go up to centuries, they do not go beyond centuries. But in the Indian system, the great sages had broken down time to such an extent, which is 0.125 seconds, or 66.6666 millisecond, which is the time it takes to blink the eye. That's the smallest unit of measure of time. And then we have the kalpa, which is 4.32 billion human years, which I have already spoken about, but I'll just give you a brief explanation. The universe, they say in the ancient Indian Vedic history, or thought, is that universe is made of one kalpa. The one kalpa has 14 manavantras. Each manavantara has 71 yuga cycles. Each yuga has 4 cycles. And each yuga has like 42,000 years, or depending on each the exact yuga, different years. So if you're looking at that, you cannot even imagine the extent how much time is in terms of one creation or one act of creation. So now, having understood the basics of time, let us go back to meditation. So Appa says, so when you're breathing naturally, just watch your breath. And then he says, there is a relation between the state of mind and breathing. That is why those who perform breathing have a good physical and mental state. Now, why does Appa say that? Because when you watch your breath, today as you go forward with your daily activities, watch. When you're calm, your breathing will be so slow and natural. When you're upset or angry, it will be very fast. You'll be breathing fast. When you're running, you're exerting your body, your breathing is fast. And then, when you're also excited, your breathing is faster. So Appa says, if you can remain calm and breathe naturally in any kind of activity, then there will be calmness in your mind because of the breathing, because you're slowing down your breathing, it immediately affects your mind. That is why in the Western world, when there's any kind of an emergency, the medical unit is thought to tell them to breathe. They'll tell the patient, whether it's a woman who's giving birth or somebody who's having trouble with the accident or something, and blood is flowing. When they're trying to stabilize them, they'll say, breathe, learn to breathe. And without knowing why they're saying that, because breathing slows down everything. Now, if we go further in meditation practices, you'll understand that breathing helps regulate the conduits of energy that is within the human body. See, we are not talking about nerves. We are talking about conduits of energy, which are subtle in nature. You cannot see them. But the great ancient sages of India have talked about 72,000 nadis in the human system, conduits of energy that bring or absorb cosmic energy, and it flows through the body, keeping it alive. And of these, there are 3 important nadis: the Sushumna, the Ida, and the Pingala nadi. The Ida is to the left, which is connected with the moon. The Pingala is to the right, connected with the sun. Ida is more feminine in nature. Pingala is in masculine in nature. And Sushumna is the counterpart of the spine. So these 3 are the main nadis that run through the body, human body. Why do we need to know this? Because when we are breathing, then the breathing is stabilized because of the flow of energy through these 3 nadis. That is why you have something called the Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, which is very effective technique in Indian system, where you close, the nostrils one by one, and then breathe from the other nostril. So if you close one, breathe in to 8 seconds, hold it, and then close this one and exhale to the 8 seconds, 8 counts. So, they have a technique of holding it this way and like this, but don't really worry about it. That can, people get lost in the techniques. The whole idea is to Close one. First breathe in, close, retain, close the other one, and exhale. In this way, when you do this, there is a circulation of energy in your body. So this is the basics of pranayama. So pranayama basically helps you move energy and balance energy in your body, and it helps calm the mind to get you into the state of meditation. So that is what Appa is talking about in terms of breathing techniques. Now when he says, let's go to pratyaharam, or withdrawal of senses. So what happens? You found a place to sit, you're sitting in a certain posture, you're holding your hand, as we talked about, if you don't know anything else, just hold it palm up on your thighs and then close your eyes and start learning to breathe. That's how much we have learned so far. Now, what is withdrawal of senses? Let us see what Appa says. The action of letting go of outside disturbances is called the withdrawal of senses. Very simple. It is that action that comes from withdrawal of the mind from such external stimuli like the light, noise, touch, and promotes inner consciousness. Now, if you think about it, it's easy to forget about the smell, because if you sit in an area where there's not much smell, then the nose is not bothered by it. And most often, we are not really bothered by the sense of smell unless it's something like a perfume or something bad, a smell that is creates distaste in us. The nose really doesn't bother us too much unless certain stimuli is particularly directed towards it. The mouth is easy. Close your mouth and it doesn't bother you. The eyes are pretty easy. Again, you're closing your eyes, doesn't bother you. Even the touch is easy to maintain. Why? Because when you sit still and when you're breathing and only focusing on breathing, then the awareness of the body also begins to slowly go away. That is why it is important not to sit in a posture which is difficult for you, because then the sense of touch is going to be part of the stimuli that is going to bring your consciousness back to that area that's hurting you. But the worst or the most difficult thing to maintain or close the sense telephone is the ears, because ears are always bombarded with stimuli. So try to find a quiet place. And, if necessary, if you have earplugs, you can put that on in the beginning, anything to kind of reduce the noise, and try to find a quiet place. And pratyaharam is completely withdrawing from the senses. In the beginning, you can use external ways of withdrawing the senses, but as you practice in the same place every day, that's another important thing. Meditation has to be done in the same place every day, because remember, again, energy. If you're sitting in one place, you're creating a certain type of energy. The next time you come, you're adding to that energy. And over time, that energy makes it easier for you to get into the state of meditation if you meditate in the same place every day. So that is important. So sit down and close all your sense telephones. Think nothing else is important. This moment is for me to go within myself, become aware of my inner self. Then Appa says, when the mind achieves complete withdrawal from the senses, including touch, when one reaches a stage where they are no longer aware of the outside world, then the state of concentration is reached. Now, when the mind achieves complete withdrawal from the senses, that's the key. And when we're no longer aware of the outside world, we're completely immersed in it, then the state of concentration is achieved or reached. And that is pratyaharam. Now, don't we do that in normal life? Watch yourselves. How many times when your mind is completely involved in something, whether it is a study or a work project which is very interesting, even if people are saying something to you, it doesn't occur to you, it doesn't register in your mind. People have to repeat themselves several times before you kind of focus your attention and find out what they're asking. Now, if we can achieve that kind of concentration in simple materialistic world, then that is the kind of concentration we aim to achieve when we're sitting quietly to learn more about ourselves. And that is the hardest thing to do because we are so used to being external, so used to having these thoughts about, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to clean this, I need to do this, I have to run here, run back. And then we're constantly responding to stimuli. Now, the biggest challenge in meditation then is to sit down and let go. That is pratyaharam, withdrawal from the senses. Now, once we come to that stage, we have found a place, we have sat down, we know the posture, we have the hand posture, we have learned the inhalation and exhalation, and we're doing all that. We've come to the stage where we have begun to focus on something completely. Our mind is completely focused on something. Now comes the next stage of dharana or meditation. That is when we begin to meditate, not before that. So here Appa says, it is not an easy task to pull the mind and tie it to one place. To aid you with this, you can either chant the name of a deity that you like or the mantra given by the guru. Now, Appa is giving us some methods of how to achieve this concentration. So one thing you could do is chant some mantra that you like, or you can chant the name of a deity or a guru. Why? How does this help us? Energy. If you're chanting on Agastya or your own guru, that is connecting to you. That higher power is connecting to you through your mind, to your emotions. You're going to connect to that higher power. And that is going to help you get into the serious stage of meditation, the actual stage of meditation. Everything else is just the beginning. That is when you go into meditation. So how can we do this in a normal life, especially, when we have to finish whatever we are doing and then run to sit and meditate? Before you begin meditation, try to listen to some devotional songs or read a devotional book or a sacred book like Agastya Valipadu or the Bible or the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter. Something that touches you, even Sai Charitramanas, anything, something that touches you, because when you are reading those sacred words, that energy of that person or the deity or the divine power that's given you that words is entering you. You're preparing your mind. At that time, think, I do not care if the world has what's going on or that is going on, this is going on, because with this few minutes or few hours that I'm going to set, it'll not matter. Because once I go back, it's all going to be waiting for me anyway. It is not important. So you got to make the determination within yourself. All your worries can wait. Because the worries will not go away, your challenges will not go away. However, when you meditate and you go back to your challenges and worries, you'll find that it's much, much easier to handle those. So listen to devotional music. And if you are the kind where when you hear devotional music, you start, crying, or you have the deep, intense love for God, that's the best thing that can lead to great meditation. You know why? Because emotion is like a magnet which will, especially of devotion and love, that will draw the higher power to you. That is why, knowingly or unknowingly, many of the spiritual groups always start their meditation with chanting or bhajans. The whole idea is to get you into that level, to withdraw from the outside world, to withdraw from all other senses, to focus on something which is of higher frequency. So now, when you start meditating, then continue to watch your breath, continue to focus on what your breath, focusing on, and do your meditation. In the beginning stages, you could just focus on a mantra. There are some simple things like, chanting the mantras at the different chakras. And hopefully all of you know there are 7 different chakras in the human body. They're subtle energy centers. They're shaped like a funnel, according to a clairvoyant, C.W. Ledbetter, who was able to see these things. And that's where all the cosmic energy is drawn in. So the sushumna, or the spinal cord that we see as the normal or in the physical level, and the sushumna, which is actually the subtle part of that, raises the energy that is latent in the base of the spine and moves it up through these chakras. And each chakra is connected with an element. So you have the Muladhara chakra, which is the base chakra, which is connected with earth. Then you have the Svadhisthana, which is connected with the sexual organs, and that's water. Then you have Manipura, which is connected with fire. Then you have the Anahata connected with air. Then you have the Vishuddha, which is connected with ether or space. Then you have the Ajna connected with knowledge, and Sahasrara connected with love. That's it. It's very simple. And know that the entire world, universe is contained within you, because you are the macrocosm or the unit of the absolute, the microcosm of the macrocosm. You are the unit of the macrocosm. You are the microcosm, or Pindanda and Brahmanda, as they call it in Indian language. So the whole world is within you. When you're talking about the fire, the elements, you're not talking about the fire that you see in the physical sense. You're talking about the primordial elements which created this world. And this is the key. If you can understand this part, then you can understand what creation is, because you are the creator. But to understand that, it takes a long time. And continue to meditate, continue to not think of what I'm going to get. I'm going to see lights. Many beginners have a problem with that. They want to see this, they want to experience that. They do not understand just by sitting still and breathing, there's a lot of advancements going on within. The chakras are aligning themselves. The energy is flowing. Everything is getting ready. The inner body knows what to do. Even if you do not feel anything spectacular for years and years, don't worry about it. Just sit. Know that you're going forward. You're advancing. You will know that you're advancing because it'll be much more calmer when you deal with people. When your understanding of things will be much more deeper than just superficially reading something. So these are all actually the real signs of advancement. Then comes the final state, and that is called the samadhi. That is the state of intense concentration. Appa says, when a person in meditation forgets himself and the outside world and has no consciousness of his own self and becomes engrossed in the joyous state, that state is called samadhi, or state of intense concentration. There are two types in this, savikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi. Now, what is this? It is a stage where you're forgetting yourself, completely becoming unaware of yourself and the outside world. And you've entered the realm of divinity. That is really you, the soul. You're connected with your own soul. That soul, which is incorruptible, it's beautiful, it's pure, and you're connecting with that. And in that, there is nothing but pure, intense joy. And how do I know this? I'll tell you this. Because there was a point when I used to meditate 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening. And suddenly this bubbling happiness would just bubble from within. I mean, there were times when I wasn't even meditating. I would be going in the bus. My thought would be somewhere else. But out would come this great bubbling fountain of happiness, joy, just welling up. My face started becoming very, very bright at the time. And that effect remained for a long, long time. Until you get that effect, until you get that bubbling joy coming from within without any outer stimuli, know that you haven't reached a stage where you have connected to God consciousness. That is the true measure of God consciousness. Nothing else. Seeing visions, seeing gods, everybody can do. It is a fact. We all do astral travel every day, every night when we go to sleep. We experience a lot of things. We just don't know how, we don't bring it back to a waking consciousness. We are constantly interacting with other levels of energies in a astral travels. So all that is very normal. And that's why you get dreams of, gods and gurus in your dream. That's all your astral connections. However, the true measure of spiritual advancement is when you get this bubbling joy. That is the true measure of God consciousness. And then Appa is talking about the two types of samadhi. One is savikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi. And he talks about it later in depth in another chapter, where he says savikalpa samadhi is what we people can experience, where we can go in and come out of that beautiful state, but we cannot remain in that, because if we remain in that, we cannot exist in this world. It becomes very hard to live in this world and be constantly in connection with savikalpa samadhi, because that will not allow you to do anything. It kind of it's a stage where it is too beautiful to come out of. It was like the time when I went to the Yogananda ashram for 15 days, when I came, and it was a 15 days of silent retreat. And when I came out, I did not want to be part of the world. I did not want to get into the train. I did not want to face the people. I couldn't handle the thing. So that is savikalpa samadhi. So that is what is appropriate for all of us who are householders. Nirvikalpa samadhi comes to the great ones like Ramana Maharishi. And for that, it's a higher stage, which I am not authorized to speak about. But anyway, this is what this whole meditation is about. So if you can know this, understand this, then one day you'll understand what you yourself are, how the creation is also within you, and why all this is not true. This is illusion. Why they say this is illusion. All those answers will come from within yourself. So for now, we are going to end this session, and we will continue, next time. I'm going to end it.